Thembisa residents have vowed to intensify their fight to have utility rates reduced. Today, they took to the streets to protest against poor service delivery. Roads were barricaded with rocks and burning tyres. Traffic was disrupted. Rubber bullets were flying for many parts of the day. Our reporter Pule Lechwiti-Jones is there. He joins us now. So Pule, it's been a day of running battles and it's not over yet, or is it?
No, not yet over, Sally. In fact, we know with these residents having to push back police early on, it seems as though they're still not happy with the kind of communique they received from the mayor's office, Tanya Campbell as well, who represents the DA, to say that we will meet you guys on the 29th of Friday, which is next week, to talk about this and see a way forward. But as you can see on my left-hand side, this is what has been going on for almost the rest of the day. One would have expected that these residents would go back home and, try to see if they can go back to the drawing board and come back next week Friday and talk about issues. But, they've been stubborn all day and they've blocked the roads that lead into some of the sections into Thembisa, burning tyres and using rocks as well. And they've vowed to continue into the evening, saying that they want to send a strong message to authorities to take their demands into consideration next time and to take their memorandums seriously. So at the center of this, you'd understand that they're complaining about the high municipal tariff rates. Amongst that, they're also saying electricity in the area has been quite problematic. So maybe, for instance, what we can do is perhaps for now listen to what some of them had to say early on when we spoke to the chairperson of a forum representing community members in this township and what residents had to say about this issue.
One of the things that makes us most frustrated is Thembisa, it's one of the most highest rate paying municipal in Ekurhuleni. So we do not understand why the authority is doing this to all of us, because since January, April, March, we've been submitting memorandums and they keep on postponing the date that they're going to answer us, they're going to answer us, they're going to answer us. But like they said, on the 29th, we are going to be here as the community and then hear what the mayor says. But we are going to promise them one thing. If they do not do what they asked to do, we are going to continue shutting down. The shutdown will happen. It must happen. It will happen. And one thing is, if they do not respect what we want as the community of Thembisa, we do not want violence. But if they do not listen to what we want, there will be violence.
Ourselves and the other stakeholders agree on the mission that we need our rates to go down. So that's the unified mission for everyone here. So in terms of the way forward, we need for her to come here and address us as a community and listen to our demands, because we've been relating to her since April the 13th, earlier this year. But she wasn't even aware that we came there. So it's either her subordinates didn't inform her, or she just doesn't take the community seriously. So the community is very frustrated, and the community doesn't want to continue paying these high rates. And they've taken out so many of the advantages we had with the previous dispensations, but we voted for them. So now we want to make sure that they serve us. They're here for us as a community. So as a community, we are united in the fact that we are unhappy here. So there's no one outside of the other to say, now, these guys are pulling that direction or that direction. It's small differences, but we'll resolve them. At the end of the day, we want our answers, and we want the mayor to serve the community of Thembisa.
Interesting, if you look at the timelines, he said from April the 13th, that is over 3 months. This community says it's waited to hear from the mayor, Tanya Campbell, and now they're on the streets. They've been given another date, the 29th of this month, I think you said. But what more is the municipality saying, particularly about the grievances raised by this community?
From what we heard earlier on, the municipality through their statement, they haven't even sent anyone on the ground. They said that, look, we note your grievances and hopefully we can just try and resolve these issues come the 29th, which is next week. We understand what you've been going through, and they do concede to the fact that this is quite a problem. But below the statements, they also continue to say that law enforcement will continue to ensure that there's stability on the ground. Now, that was just the kind of reaction we got earlier on from the community members and some of those representing their forums. Perhaps one must also try to get a live reaction now of what is going on here. Sally, if you can just give me that opportunity to perhaps speak to some of the residents to say what will they be doing from here onwards, and see if, yes, indeed, they're still continuing with the mandate of continuing with the protest into the evening. If you can allow me, Sally, maybe let me just speak to some of the guys. I said, the guy. So, getting to happen, you're live on ENCA.
Okay.
I wanted to know, what's the continue work shutdown until?
That the as a community, we want to continue with that because the mayor Irbator 29, which is totally incorrect. And a memorandum ka April. He was supposed to respond today. And last week remains aware, and she could not actually how can I say, prepare herself for today because she gave us this day today.
So you're not happy with the 29th?
No, we are not happy.
Yeah.
We are not happy.
And therefore, let's continue until
until 29. That is basically the fact at this point in time. And what we want, as we are seated here, we've got quite a number of issues that the service doesn't give us. Firstly, you have water that you are paying double, but from the same what you call meter box.
Okay, so the billing problem.
The billing problem,
yeah.
And also the rental problem. I mean the rent that we are paying. We are paying exorbitant rent.
Okay.
Other other places around Ekurhuleni, they are actually not paying, and we pay for them. We are paying about 1,000 something, but what is known is that we are paying a flat rate of about 300 rand.
Okay.
But at this point in time, why must we, I can't say it. We are ripped off anyway. Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, Sally, as you heard there, some of the residents here complaining about the issues of, claiming that there's a billing problem in this area, but also saying that they hope that this issue can be resolved. They're of the view that they're being ripped off and the bill isn't correct as it comes to their households when having to pay at the end of the month. That's what we've been getting here throughout the whole day on the ground. They're hoping that this issue can be resolved and hopefully the mayor can come down. I mean, you heard that chap there saying that they will continue with the shutdown until the 29th. So it's up to the mayor to actually come down on the ground, Sally, and address the residents, and hopefully this shutdown can finally come to an end.
Yeah, and it's so important. It seems on the surface that communication is the number one issue. If communities do not feel heard, that is where, sometimes messages are misunderstood and people feel ignored. And I think that is a very big reality in many towns and municipalities on the ground. And it's an issue that cannot be ignored. And thank you very much for bringing it to our attention. That's from Thembisa, our reporter, Pule Letshwiti-Jones. Well, we know that electricity is one of the service delivery problems, whether you are not connected yet or you can't pay and you're being charged too much, or there's billing problems, or there's load shedding, ongoing breakages. We do have a massive crisis in our energy generation. And we know this because, of course, the President himself has said there is an action plan. It's on its way. It's coming in days, he's told us. Well, today, the Finance Minister